On this episode of the Ask Mike Reinold Show, we talk about rotator cuff biomechanics, we talk about employee reviews, and we talk about barefoot training.
The Ask Mike Reinold Show. Helping people feel better, move better, and perform better.
Welcome back, everybody, to the latest episode of the Ask Mike Reinold Show. I'm here at Champion PT and Performance up in Boston. I'm here with Lenny Macrina, Dave Tilley, with the crew at Champion. We're here to answer your awesome questions that you got.
Student?
9 months and he's still not a student.
Deja vu. Gabeinator, where are you? You know, Gabe actually said, I don't know if he texted me or whatever on Facebook or something, that he would do guest appearances from us. We can Skype him in. Does anyone still Skype? We just get, it's like Kleenex now.
Apple TV him into the
FaceTime
TV. Yeah, he's up in the corner.
Turn it to Gabe.
Was that Max Headroom?
No, it's like the Wizard of Oz.
Do you even know what Max Headroom is? Is it Max Headroom?
Yeah, I think something like that.
It was like 1982 Pepsi commercial.
Oh, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Pee-wee's Playhouse with the dude
that was
in
my bike.
Mecca like a hiney ho.
Yeah.
Someone stole my
Just
bike.
the head.
All right, do we have questions? Let's just get right to the questions
Right.
after all of our nonsense. So, awesome. All right, so let's see. Who's going to read the questions this time? Ready? We don't have a
not
good
gonna go all the way
vibe.
around.
I don't think so.
Don't lose a lot.
Oh.
It's like rigged. It's clearly, it only makes 75% of its
All right. Patrick from Sweden. Hi, guys. Thanks for the information and entertaining podcast. Could you shed some light on which of the muscles of the rotator cuff that acts to prevent anterior translation of the humeral head, the infraspinatus, subscap, etc.? Some research seems to indicate that the cuff is direction specific and that the infraspinatus prevents humeral anterior and superior translation during flexion. However, other people talk about the importance of the subscap in reducing anterior translation. For example, Shirley Sarman. What are your thoughts?
First off, I love it. We have a rotator cuff biomechanical question. I
Right.
love it. It's like
Knock it
that's like I love that stuff.
Neurobiomechanical.
All right, so to paraphrase your question, let's kind of start with. So I would say your question is, what's the role of the rotator cuff in stabilizing the glenohumeral joint? And there's some discrepancies out there in people's theories and research and stuff that perhaps, let's say, anterior translation, perhaps the posterior cuff, like the infraspinatus, helps prevent anterior translation, while other people say the anterior cuff, the subscap, helps prevent anterior translation. I think there's probably discrepancy in the research on both sides because they both do, right? You know, like ding, 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 congrats, they both do. So they probably both do it through different mechanisms, though. So the posterior cuff, yes, if your posterior cuff contracts, it's gonna try to glide you posteriorly and have you rotate a little bit more posterior. So yes, the posterior cuff is gonna help stabilize that mechanically. In the front, though, your subscap acts as like a buttress, so that way you can't go forward. When you contract it, obviously it becomes harder to translate anteriorly because your subscap tightens up. But that being said, the thing nobody ever really talks about is that your rotator cuff blends into your capsular tissue. They're not like two distinct structures where you can stick your finger in there and just move them up and down. They're not distinct structures. So when you contract your subscap, you're also kind of pulling on the capsule a little bit and tightening up the capsule. And you can argue the same thing with the infraspinatus. So don't forget, they both act together to keep it centered as well.
Right, it's not happening in isolation.
Yeah, so it's like
how we're visualizing it.
Yeah, so I think all of these mechanisms, all the things we're saying are in isolation, like Lenny said, that's perfect. When in reality, nothing works in isolation, it all works together, and it's the whole, it's the whole synergy of the synergistic items.
Mm-hmm. Nailed it.
Neurobiomechanical.
Right, exactly.
So, to me, I think that's why there's some conflicting theories. I don't know if anyone's ever said their theories was the end all be all. Like even like Shirley said that. Like it's probably like, hey, this is just one concept for that, right? So
I think that's why we're such fans of doing equal amount of strength work as dynamic stability work, train the cuff to work together. So we hammer people on high level dynamic stability because they need it. It's not just about like getting one or the other to be the showstopper.
Yeah, do it all.
Right.
Love it.
Cool. All right, Katie from Maryland. Hi, Mike. I love your podcast. I'm so happy that Dave Tilley has joined your group. Oh, thank you.
She really said that, or you add that?
I swear to God.
I totally fudged this. I made the computer turn to him.
I wouldn't have read that if I was you.
Skip that. I lost my place now. I'm a former gymnast and a PT/ATC who works with gymnasts. Anyway, my question is about how you handle or what you've seen to be effective with your staff yearly reviews, incentives for raises, etc. Furthermore, do you have any good business/admin type courses you recommend to improve all the things in a PT practice that are not based on your actual physical therapy skills?
Nice. Okay, so good business question. So first off, if you haven't figured this out yet, if you mention Dave Tilley in your question, it's like guaranteed you get on the show. So watch the next like all the dozen. If we get a question that says I love Dave Tilley, how do we leave it out? That's not fair to you. So we
Do all of them say, "Hey, Mike, I love you"?
Do we do that? No, none of them do. They all say we love Dave.
Thank you, Katie.
So we do it for Dave. This is not a me versus you. This is a team thing. But yeah, you say I love Dave Tilley, and we're putting your question on the show.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
So
right?
Absolutely. So we all love Dave Tilley. To answer your question.
Thanks, guys.
So so business wise,
Did you ask a question?
I don't. Len, you want to take the question on what do we do for staff yearly reviews?
We don't do yearly reviews. We've been doing quarterly reviews. We try to.
Dave's like, I've been here 6
actually
months.
working on that right
Yeah,
now.
we have a draft on your.
Yeah, we take a different approach. So we've modified our review process. We do an ongoing chat with our employees and just keep everybody up to speed, make sure everybody's happy. But a formal thing we do quarterly where we have a very one-page. It's an ordinal scale or nominal scale, whatever, and it's we rate certain things that we feel are important for the company. We describe some stuff, and then we set a few goals for the up and coming quarter or whatever time frame we're looking at. So we tend to be a little more I don't want to say aggressive, but we just try to stay on top of things. I think that's kind of a common theme of what we do here. We try not to let things get too far ahead of itself. And then it becomes this yearly, oh no, we got to talk about stuff that happened a long time ago. So we try to stay on top of things and, keep it real and then really have a formal discussion, formally informal, quarterly.
Yeah, we try to do quarterly. We often fail, but that's fine. But I think we often fail because I don't think anything's ever we have a lot of ongoing like chats here and there, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't need that one. But when we first started, we took templates from our past employers and stuff, and I think we had 5-page kind of nice formal review from some of the past things I did. It was very formal stuff, but it was I always felt like that was just you're rating all your attributes, right? So it's like just chopping you down as a human and stuff. So we've recently switched to just a one-page thing because one, we want it to be simple for us. Two, we want it to be simple for the employees, and just have like a one-page quick review. And what we do is we talk about the key principles and that we feel are important for your performance. But the other thing is we grade you on, are you achieving our core values as a company? So I don't know, what do we have, like 10 core values or something like that, but you have to meet your core values. If you don't meet your core values, it's like you're on probation. And if you continuously don't meet our core values, you're not a fit here. So I would say the first half of our employee reviews and stuff like that is just about making sure it's not about how are you doing as a person. It's more like, are you fitting in with our vision and our core values and stuff. And then the second half is goal-based stuff, is what we want to get out of you. And it's almost always stuff like, we want you to grow more, we want you to learn more. It's never like you have to be on time more. That's different, right? That's if you're talking to somebody about being on time during their quarterly review.
And we are certainly not talking about something similar to that, like how many people you're seeing in a week or in a day, and what are your billing units.
That's true, yeah.
We don't even talk about that stuff. It's not anywhere in your review. It is highly based off of core values of our company, and if you are doing Con Ed,
how do you grow? How do you become better?
Right. Are you representing what we think the company is wanting to represent?
Right. But I'm like a productivity nut. I read all business stuff all the time. I'm in on more of the current trends and that stuff. So what's Google doing? What's Amazon doing? What's Starbucks doing? Those types of things. So I try to stay on top of that. So we've been heavily influenced by some of the more progressive tech companies and stuff. But that, and in terms of a course, I don't think there's a ton of courses out there. The private practice section of the APTA has some private practice courses that are cool. I did that at the beginning. I thought that was good. What else? Evidence in motion, maybe?
Yeah,
don't they have some
evidence
stuff?
in motion. Yep.
I think
Seemed to be a good one.
yeah, I think they have some stuff. Yeah, you didn't end up
I
doing
ended
it.
up doing
But
it. You get your DPT2, which I don't have, but
yeah, so
Master Lane.
yeah,
just call me Master.
yeah, he's the master. So
Yeah.
anyway,
So-
all right, good, cool. Dave,
All right. So Sam from Minnesota.
does he love Dave?
No.
Or
So
that
glad
could be a
Dave joined
female.
the
Wait, is it
No,
Sam
female.
from Minnesota or Sam Minnesota? That's good.
I left out the from.
So I see on your Instagram that you have your patients/athletes do lower extremity lifts without shoes. How often, or for what population, and what is your theory behind it?
Nice, Austin.
yeah.
So I would say so barefoot training. Like, what do we do? I would say that on our end, there's certain lifts, there's certain exercises that we prefer to do barefoot. So deadlifts, for example, are almost always done either barefoot or with minimalist shoes on, just because we want a more posterior oriented force vector, right? We don't want you up on a heel like you would on a squat. We want you sitting back on your heels a little bit more to get more posterior engagement, I guess, or whatever. I don't know if I said that perfect, but you know, that's why we do it with stuff like a deadlift. We do a lot of our warm-ups barefoot just because we want to get, you know, we want people to be barefoot sometimes. We want you to be, you know, working on your foot intrinsics. We don't do a lot of lifts other than the deadlift barefoot, you know, but there's times, you know, we may do a kettlebell swing or something if you're working on a posterior, again, engagement type thing, we might do that. But I would say if it's a lot more than that, it's just sometimes some of our knucklehead patients wear flip-flops in the summer, and we get them out in the gym to do a couple of rehab exercises and they're barefoot, and it kills me. But
yeah, I don't know if it's a
Austin.
proprioceptive thing too. It feeling the ground with your
Right.
feet,
Sensory feedback.
just the feedback, be able to push through the ground versus is what you kind of
All my gymnasts do it.
Yeah.
Their feet just
Yeah.
because of gymnastics.
I personally go barefoot during like my warm up and stuff, and you know, just those types of things. I think it helps.
Yeah.
You know, I think it helps with some, you know, foot strengthening, intrinsic strengthening and stuff. So
All the balance stuff.
so yeah.
Right.
So
Yep.
awesome. Is that it? Awesome. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Another great group of questions. We appreciate it. Go to MikeReinold.com and be sure to sign up for our email newsletter so you can get all the latest podcasts. You can click on the podcast link, ask us some awesome questions, keep contributing so we have more and more to answer. And then obviously go to iTunes, leave us a great review, maybe even subscribe, and you know, we'll keep doing this for you guys. So thanks so much for everything, and we'll see you on the next episode.